All right, guys. I thought this show couldn't get any more wilder, but after the fight that I just witnessed of freaking Chelsea and Jimmy, I just I think this might be the most wildest season of Love Is Blind I have ever seen. I don't know. Comment down below if you agree with me, because my God, the things, the tea that has been spilled after this season, which I want to talk about before we get into this recap of episode 10, guys. I'm not on social media, which sucks because I feel like I should be for this channel. I really should be. I'm thinking about getting back on it, but I couldn't believe the stuff that I found out about Jeremy and our Sir Trevor, who we thought was a beautiful love knight in shining armor. We all loved him. We're like, oh, he's such a nice guy. Lies. Lies, lies, lies. And really, it's actually very scary. Guys, when I found out that Jeremy was engaged maybe a couple months before going on this show, goodbye, sir. Goodbye. Why would you think that you're ready to be on a show about getting married to someone when you were just engaged like a couple months ago before this show? Like, it's actually astonishing. Astonishing. And the fact that like the producers are casting like don't catch on this, I don't know if they're just like, oh well, it'll make for good TV later. Like, I don't know. And Jeremy has come out saying like, well, everyone in the house knew that I was engaged. I'm like, did Laura know you were engaged? Did Sarah Ann know you were engaged? I don't know. I do not know. But the fact that we find out that lovely tea not too long ago, and then the worst of the worst. And I mean, I think this guy has officially become like one of the worst of Love Is Blind. I mean, like, we all remember Shake. We all remember Bartiste, oh my God, Bartiste just, every time I say his name, I just get, I think Trevor might have topped this man. Might have tapped this as might have become like the worst hated man on the Love Is Blind season ever, and he wasn't even engaged. He didn't even make it past the pods. But y'all, we found out that this man had a girlfriend while in the pods, and they both knew and decided to go on it just to see what would happen. Just to see. He knew he didn't want to get engaged. And then we also find out that after that, because the person who actually, decided to spill the tea, they broke up because he like ghosted her. And there's like texts of this, supposedly. There is full on receipts. The receipts have been showed. They have been showed, and it's pretty darn bad. The garbage behavior, the garbage behavior that is this Trevor situation. I couldn't believe it. It's just foolish, horrible behavior, and it's men like this that you really start to wonder, like, no wonder it's so hard to date these days. No wonder people are like, it is so hard to find a good man, because you see shit like this and you're like, oh my God, I can't trust anyone. Like, what is going on? Oh my God. Oh my God, the frustration.
Son of a bitch! You done messed up, Aaron!
The frustration. I can't wait for the reunion. Y'all, they announced the reunion, and I can't wait, because supposedly we as fans get to ask the questions and ask and pick who we want to be invited to the reunion. So yeah, I can't wait. I cannot wait for this reunion. I hope it's just juicy and the tea is flowing. I cannot wait. But okay, let's get straight into this recap now. Let's get into episode 10. So the episode starts off with Jeremy talking to his mom, telling her about what happened with Laura and how he drove out with Sarah Ann and that nothing happened and just talked. And I'm just like, dude, it looks bad. It looks bad. You were an engaged man. The idea that you even had to think like, maybe I should go and talk to Sarah Ann, so we can like, talk about what happened and get some closure. No. No. And there's also no reason why you should be doing that until 5 in the morning. This conversation should have lasted like maybe 20 minutes, maybe, if we really wanted to get. But the fact that this conversation started at the bar and continued so long that you guys felt like you had to talk until like 5 in the morning, garbage. Garbage behavior, garbage. I cannot with this man. And like, Jeremy to me has always been like, quote unquote, a character of this show that I never really like liked or disliked. I was always kind of just like, who is this person? Oh, okay, he's finding love. Like, that's kind of how I always felt about him. But my God, as the season has progressed, it's just like red flag, red flag. The red flags have just been showing. And I mean, the way the episode ended, with him just straight up lying and being caught by Laura is just absolutely astonishing. The fact that this man thought that he could get away with this behavior. It's astonishing. And I like that his mom actually called him out and was like, well, dude, like, this looks really bad. Like, what the fuck? Like, this looks bad. But he was like, oh, I didn't know I would lose a fiance about this.
No, 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 no.
So what did you think was going to happen? Did you think Laura was going to be like, oh, it's okay? I completely understand that you hung out with this girl who you were also kind of in love with for a couple of hours and decided to come home at like 5 a.m. Oh, it's okay. Come here, honey. I love you no matter what. Sir, I'm sorry, what? I'm sorry, what? Sir, no. Garbage, garbage, garbage. And then somebody was talking about how it's shocking, like it's funny that they put the mom on the show when the mom knew that he was engaged. And oh my God. I mean, it's pretty funny. It is pretty funny. It is funny. But then we move on into Chelsea and Jimmy, which, my God, this episode was so Chelsea and Jimmy focused. And it makes for amazing TV, but my God, I am so exhausted by this couple. I am so exhausted by the most ridiculous things I have heard on the show. So, okay, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Chelsea and Jimmy are meeting his family. Oh, he looks just like his dad. His family's super sweet. You meet his mom, his dad, and his sister. Such a sweet family. I'm like, oh my God, they're the cutest thing. Like, oh, just like what I imagined, right? And they asked them about their relationship, and Chelsea says one of the funniest things I have ever heard on this show. Like, one of the funniest things I've ever heard. She says, oh my God, we haven't had fights. We've had more conversations. I'm sorry, what?
You serious?
I'm sorry, what? If I was doing shots to this show on the most ridiculous thing, every single time that Chelsea says something ridiculous, I'd probably be drunk. Like, I could not believe that she said, we haven't had fights. We've only had conversations. I said, sir, ma'am, do we need to replay like the last 3 fights you've had? And you're calling them arguments? Excuse me. No, sorry. No, not even arguments. You're calling them conversations? Have mercy. Oh my God. And Jimmy, continues to say that he likes her and that he wants to marry her. His mom says, like, oh my God, I can see the love in his eyes. And, if this is what makes him happy, like, that's all you want, your children to be happy. And he looks very happy. And his parents are really adorable together. They're like kind of flirting and being like really funny about like their pros and cons about each other. It's super cute. But my God, Jimmy, you need to say no at the altar. I swear to God, if you say yes at the altar,
No, God!
they're probably not together at this reunion if they said yes. Because if he says yes, I don't know why. I do not know why he is saying yes. It is very clear that she is not the one, no matter how many times he continues to say it in the show. Oh, Chelsea's my person. Chelsea's the one for me. I have no doubt in my mind that Chelsea's the woman I want to be with the rest of my life. Sir, are you saying this to freaking convince yourself? Because you ain't convincing me. What I'm seeing on TV is that no, there's red flags galore. Red flags galore. And it's crazy because at the beginning of the season, people were really roasting on Jimmy. And right now in this episode, I just couldn't help but like side with the guy. I was like, what has happened? Why am I siding with Jimmy now? Is it because like Chelsea has literally just gotten to a level of insecurity that is just too much for me to handle? Does it make for wonderful TV? Absolutely. Does it make for wonderful recaps? Oh yeah, absolutely. But my God, the amount of absurd things I heard. We'll get into this. We'll get into it shortly here. I could not believe it. Astonishing. Freaking astonishing. But anyway, we move on to AD and Clay, and we meet AD's mom. She's so sweet. Like, I love her. I loved the mom. We find out that AD had like done this cute little thing for Clay, and he hasn't been home, so it's still there. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like he does later on talk about what he does. I was like, oh, okay, so he rents Airbnbs and boats and stuff. And I'm like, but why do you have to be home? Like, why aren't you home at night? Like, I don't. Excuse me. That to me, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand like why his job is like so busy that he can't be home at certain decent hours. I'm like, you run an Airbnb, but like, do you have to be out at night? Like, I don't know. I mean, I just don't understand. I'm not a business person in that way, so I don't know. But it was weird. But it was a really wonderful conversation with Mom, Clay, and AD. You know, they all have a great conversation about family, marriage. She gives parental advice. Her mom really, really likes him. And guys, okay, I do want to talk about Clay in this conversation or this meeting. Clay is a very good talker, and not necessarily in a bad way. I'm not saying that he like talks a talk and he's lying. I don't believe that. I do think and a lot of people have been saying that he is a guy that has a lot of potential to become like who I think he would like to be, but he's just not there yet. And that kind of worries me because I'm not sure if AD is just going to be like, oh, he'll get there, or if she's going to be kind of like, I don't know if I could wait and I don't know if I want to risk it kind of thing. She's a very smart woman. She's a very smart woman. So I hope to God that she kind of like thinks about it because in this conversation, oh, he sounded like perfect. Like he knew like exactly what to say and not necessarily in a rehearsed way, but he sounded like someone that like really wanted to be there for her, really wants to be a good husband, wants to be better than his quote unquote dad was, because to me like that is like his big fear is like him becoming his dad and like cheating on his wife. I feel like that is what he's traumatized about. And he does kind of talk about it because he does say like, you know, I have been taking a lot in of my parents like marriage, and AD's mom kind of stops him and is like, that's not your thing though. You should not have to put on your shoulder this burden of like your parents problems or their divorce or their traumas or their issues. That should not be put on you. You have to live your life. What mistakes, what things they have done is not something that you need to carry with you. It was wonderful because I do believe that that is absolutely so true, so true. And I'm glad that she kind of told him that and was able to kind of open his mind up a little bit to really letting go of really that like trauma that he has, because I think he just holds a lot of trauma from that divorce, which really affects his relationship and affects like how he views marriage right now, right? So is he a changed man overnight? Absolutely not. The man needs some work. At the end of the day, you need to do some work for a couple of years to really get to that point where you're like, yeah, I'm ready for marriage. Now, if they get married, maybe it's going good. But if AD says yes or says no, I would understand where she's coming from. But we'll see. We will see. I don't know. We will see. Oh yeah, then we find out that she had told the mom that she trusts him and that she would follow this man. I said, this could just be like the way they're producing and editing this, so that they're really throwing it that like, oh yeah, she's gonna follow him, like she's gonna marry him, but then in the end maybe she doesn't. So I don't know, that could be editing. But it just seems like right now the two big issues are, one, is he ready for marriage, which is the biggest issue obviously, and two, can this man figure out his schedule? Because my God, this is a little bit crazy. Like, you can make more time for your freaking fiance who you just met like a week ago. In my opinion, I think that should still take a little bit more of a precedence. But I also understand like you run a business and you have to like go back to real life, right? So I don't know. I just feel like they need to really figure that out. Then we have Amy and Johnny, who, again, I have really nothing to say because their story is just so like, if they don't get married, it would be like the weirdest thing ever. I'd be like, okay, this is coming out of left field. Like it was kind of like Tiffany and Brett, like there was no way that they were saying no. Like there was just like absolutely no way. So yeah. Then we have, oh sorry, like I was saying. So then Amy is introducing Johnny to her dad, and Johnny really talks about himself and wanting to retire early and live life doing things he wants to do, not because he has to do them. Which is, I think, very admirable of him. I think they're both 27, which, I mean, it's very young, but the fact that already has a mindset that he's like, I want to retire early. I do not want to be working in my 60s. Like, I want to be able to live my life. And I'm like, good for you. Good head on your shoulders. Now, this whole thing about the birth control thing, I find absolutely crazy. Like, condoms, they exist. I don't know if it's just like he doesn't want to wear one. I don't understand that whatsoever. I don't get it. Her dad just is like the sweetest man. He just talks about Amy so well and how much he loves her. And in the end, he does give them their blessing to get married. And it was very sweet and very, very cute. And I'm like, I hope they make it, and I hope they're still together by the reunion. It's going to be really sad if they're not. Then we move on. I look at my notes and I'm just like, I can't. We move on to Jimmy and Chelsea and to this big fight, or should I call it a conversation that they have, because how you would call this a conversation and not a fight is beyond me. But it really stems from the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. Like, literally the most ridiculous thing. They're, like, having a conversation on the couch, and they just seem fun. And then out of nowhere, Chelsea's like, well, you kind of, like, annoyed me because, you went out with your friends for your friend's birthday party, and you didn't invite me. And he's like, what do you mean? Like, of course I invited you. You said you wanted to stay home. And she's like, no, you didn't. And he's like, yes, I did. I asked you to come, and you said you didn't want to. And then it starts.
Here we go! Here the fuck we go! Here the fuck we go!
Basically, the reason why she's mad is because he went out for an hour and a half and had one drink and hung out with his friends. That's actually the reason this conversation started. I said, the fact that this woman was bringing this up, like this man was out, like Jeremy, like out till, didn't come home till 5 a.m. the next day. The man was gone for an hour and a half, and she is livid. I mean, she is drunk too at this point. She's drunk, and she's just saying all these like ridiculous accusations, being like, oh my God, I was embarrassed. Mackenzie was there. He's like, who's Mackenzie? She's like, Mackenzie for the pods. And she saw you. He's like, I don't even know what Mackenzie looks like. And granted, it's true. Like, why does he care? Does he know who Mackenzie is really? No. He doesn't know what she looks like. Like, why is this even being brought up? And this girl was fishing, and he said it. Fishing, the whole fucking conversation. Trying to make things bigger than they were. Because, like I said, this man was out for an hour and a half. And he literally is telling her, he's just like, I was out for an hour. He's like, well, you told me that you didn't go out and party. Ma'am, he didn't go out to the club. He wasn't out for 4 hours. He literally went out for an hour and a half, had a drink, and came back. What is the issue? What is the issue? Oh, I know. Insecurity. She is so insecure in this relationship. I just can't take it anymore. It's actually exhausting. And you can see that Jimmy is exhausted. No matter how many times he continues to tell the camera and tell Chelsea that she is the person for him, the man is done. The man is exhausted. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? I have to again validate you and tell you that, oh yeah, okay, I'm gonna drop hanging out with my friends so that I could be with you. Like, what? I'm sorry, what? What is this What is this fight? Like, what is this fight?
America My Face is saying everything that you need to know.
And then she's accusing him. This is a good one. She's basically accusing him of hanging out with his girlfriends too much. I'm sorry, what? Again, my favorite saying, I'm sorry, what? Chelsea is mad that he's hanging out or texting his friends that are girls or whatever, who she had met previously, right? And in that meeting, she said, oh, I'm okay with you having friends that are girls because I'm friends. One of my best friends is my ex-boyfriend. I'm sorry. Okay, what? Then why are you complaining? Why is this such a big deal that he is hanging out with friends that you have met that are girls? Oh, I know why. Because then she decides to just spill out the beans and spill out tea on TV that clearly he did not want to be said, that he had one night stand with one of those friends, and he still talks to her and friends, and because of that, that's who she was talking about in the previews when she was like, you fucked her, you fucked her. It wasn't about Jessica, thank God, or anybody from the pods. It was actually about someone who he had sex with his friend, who was a friend, and now they're still friends. And I'm like, girl, why are you coming at him? You literally said that you had an ex-boyfriend who you were best friends with. Are you telling me you didn't have sex with your boyfriend? Is that what you're telling me? Like, it does not make sense. It does not make fucking sense. I couldn't. I legit couldn't. And like I said, Jimmy couldn't either. Jimmy was like, are you serious?
I said, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Are you serious? And then she starts bringing up Jessica, being like, Jessica was there. He's like, are you serious? Like, Jessica was not there. He's like, yes, she was. Who told you that? Did you just make that up? Because no one has physically told you. No one has said, hey, Jessica is here.
That's my opinion!
Had they said that, and she's just sitting there like feeling like an idiot, because obviously she's just like creating these scenarios that are bigger in her head. Literally what probably happened was he went, hung out with his friends, with not just the girls, but there were guys there too, had a drink, had a beer, and was like, all right, I'm gonna get back to my girlfriend. That's all that happened. But instead, Chelsea has now created the scenario in her head that he went there and met up with Jessica and was talking with her and making out with her, or talking with the girlfriend and possibly thinking about having sex with her, and all these like inappropriate things, when really none of that happened. None of that happened, and he has been telling her how much he's been reassuring her, and she just cannot get over it. And I agree. It's actually astonishing. And I forgot to mention one thing. The fact that she kept saying, oh, it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing that you were there and I wasn't. And it was like, but why is that embarrassing? He's like, Mackenzie and all my friends were texting me saying that they saw you there. And they were like, oh, where's Chelsea? Like, why isn't Chelsea here? Girl, you didn't want to go. You did not want to go. Why is that embarrassing? All you have to say is like, oh, yeah, I didn't go. I was tired. Why is it embarrassing? Girl, oh, my God. Oh my God, it's actually ridiculous. It is actually, again, it's garbage behavior. It's garbage behavior.
I got a belly full of white dog crap in me. And now you laid this shit on me?
To another extreme. I can't. I cannot. In the end of this freaking ridiculous conversation, she's just saying that she doesn't trust him, that she can't see herself being with him. He's just like, okay, well then I can't see myself being with you, so I'm assuming this is over, because if you don't believe that I love you, then why are we in this relationship? And he's like walks into the bathroom and he's like, fine, like then this is over. He walks into the bathroom and this girl has the audacity to then just go into the bathroom and say, don't leave. Girl, you brought this conversation, this fight up. You created this, and now that he's over it, you're like, oh, don't leave. Insecurities. It is screaming insecurity, and also red flags. Just red flags galore, and Jimmy needs to say no to this woman at the altar. Please, Jimmy, for the love of God, say no. Say no for the love of God. And it's sad because I want people to find love, but she's not the one. She is not the one, and he is not the one. Something is not right. Something's not right. Oh, I can't. Ugh. Anyway, we move on to the next day. Clay and AD, they're at the house, they're talking, and he's saying, like, hey, like, the timeline thing, and it's bringing up that whole thing, like, is Clay ready? Is the man ready to get married kind of thing, right? That's really what this conversation's bringing up. And AD pretty much just says, like, hey, I don't want to be a long-time fiance. So you either say yes to me, or we have a conversation before we get to the altar where we can possibly talk about saying yes or no. But if you say no to me at the altar, I'm not entertaining, like, the let's date after thing. And I hope to God she sticks to those guns, because, yeah, it's just like, just either say before, like, hey, I think we both should just say no and date. I think I'm not ready. Okay. But if you continue to act like you are ready and then you get to the altar and say no, AD ain't waiting for you. She out. She ain't waiting. I don't know. Clay and AD to me are still up in the air. Like, I really don't know. Like, I feel like AD is really, like, in it, but I also know she's very smart. And I hope she makes the right decision. And like I said, I like Clay, even though he has said some questionable things on this season. But for the most part, I think he is trying to change and be a better person. So, I don't know. Guys, I do not know. But then we go back to Jimmy and Chelsea again with this making up day. I'm like, I mean, what else can I say other than the fact that they both just... oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I was drunk and my tone was incorrect. Okay, Chelsea. But you still said it, though. You still brought this up. And we can't say that this is not going to show up yet again. Like, why are you lying?
Oh, my God. Stop fucking lying.
Why are you lying? Like, come on. Jimmy says that he went for a long walk and was like, you know what, I don't think I can move forward with this. And I said, thank God. Good. Or we're just going to end it here. Perfect. Yay. Let's no need to go to the altar. And then, of course, she just starts talking like, oh, but are you giving up on us? Like, you shouldn't give up on. I was like, oh, here we go. She's going to wrap him back up in it again, isn't she? She's going to wrap him up again. Yep, that's basically what happened. She's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, oh, I shouldn't have said it like that. Like, I need to work on my tone. I need to be better. And I'm just like, here we go. Just brushing it under the rug. Just brushing it. Because I just know that this fight would just happen again and again and again and again until Jimmy's like, okay, I want a divorce. Like really, I'm so over this relationship. I don't even want to continue talking about it anymore because I'm so over it. Like, and then they just keep saying I love you to each other, and I'm like, I think you're just saying that because you really want to convince yourself that you love that person when you don't. Like, you really are trying to convince yourself, because I don't believe it. There's no way that you could be in a relationship. Like, you've been with this person for possibly 3 weeks at this point, and you've fought this much? No. Please. No, absolutely not. No. It is now time for Lakehouse time. It's the Lakehouse where everyone starts coming from the rest of the season. The boys get there, some girls get there. You have the girls kind of talking in a little circle by the beach, by the lake, and we find out that Laura pretty much just hates Jeremy. I mean, we weren't expecting anything less. She just talks about how he's a fake, he's the worst person, he can't believe he did this to me, a whole bunch of stuff. Then Jeremy gets there, and this guy has the audacity to wear a Hawaiian shirt. Now, granted, I dragged Laura in the last episode about the Hawaiian shirts because I don't think it's a big deal. I don't understand why it's such a big deal that the man wears Hawaiian shirts. By all means, wear them. That wouldn't affect me. But the fact that he wore it because he knows that she hates it, oh, Jeremy, rude. Oh my God, so rude. You know for a fact he did it on purpose. It's actually just astonishing. Then you find out that Jeremy's like, oh, I tried to send her flowers and instead she just like bad mouths me and sends me angry texts and says like, oh, isn't it it's sad that how your name in my phone changed from fiance to just Jeremy. I was like, I mean, granted, she was over it. She was like, I am not dealing with this shit. Which, good for you, girl. Good for you. Get the fuck out of there. Like, run. Escape. Whatever you can, please do it. And I'm glad she did. But Jeremy's, like, trying to paint this light that, like, Laura treated him bad. I'm like, sorry. I'm sorry, what? Sir, you are the one that went and hung out with a girl you had a connection with in the pod until 5 a.m. Sir. And you think that if you bring her flowers and say, hey, honey, I'm sorry, a couple of days later that she's going to forgive you? No. Sir, no. That is not how this works. It's not.
Immediately no. Like instantly, I was like, yeah, no.
But yeah, he just pretty much tries to like make her look like she's like been evil to him. Like, oh, why wasn't I given grace? I have nothing to say about you. Just garbage. Then we have the rest of the people. The people show up. I mean, well, we have Jess and Trevor show up next. Everyone's like, oh my God, oh, that's Trevor. Oh my God, he is my type, whatever. You see Jess show up, and Jess and Jimmy have a weird, like, church hug, they call them, which is sort of like side hugs, right? And she's like, oh my God, like, so awkward. Of course you give me, like, a freaking church hug. Oh my God. It's very awkward. Everyone is just, like, you can see her, like, on pins and needles, like, oh my God. Like, everyone's ex, everyone who kind of dated is there. And when Trevor walked through, I was like, sir,
Well...
I couldn't, anytime his face was on screen, I literally was just be like, I wanted to scream to the freaking, I wanted to scream so badly, liar! You're a liar! Liar! You lied to me! I literally just, oh my God. Then you have Jess and Jimmy who decide to go and take a little walksies to the lake. They sit down and they talk about the pods. And y'all, I was happy with the way this conversation went. I was like, thank God. No innuendos, no drama. It was just like just a conversation about the pods and how he was very, he's sorry that he made her feel bad, that he made her cry. She accepts his apology. Oh, and then he tells her like, if you give someone half of what you gave, even half of what you gave me, that person will be extremely happy. I'm like, oh, that was very nice of you. He still says that he feels nervous around her, and he's like, oh, you shouldn't, and she just tells him like, but it does hurt and it did suck, but I am happy for you and Chelsea. Now how true that is, I don't know, because at the end you wish you were you, and in that moment you were like real pissed at him, but you've had time to reflect. It's okay, you've had time to reflect. But yeah, they just have kind of like a very cordial conversation. Nothing happened. Like, yeah, he's like, yeah, in the ITMs, he is very much of like, oh, I am attracted to her. She's a beautiful woman. But like, that's fine. Like, you're allowed to say that. He didn't do anything in this conversation that I felt was like, oh, that was questionable. He had more of a questionable moment when he was like kind of like flirting with AD at the beach. That was more questionable than this. But also, I think at the beach at that point, there was also a lot of drinking involved. And I think that really just changes the perception, changes the way you're viewing scenes. I think in this scene when we watched him, I think he was very much of just like, he was fine. There was no crazy alcohol involved at this point, unlike those parties at the beach when it's like nighttime. They've probably been there for hours, have tons of drinks. Like, things just start to show kind of weird. I don't know. That might be just me. I don't know. But yeah, that was pretty much the end of that episode. The next episode pretty much dives into Sarah Ann showing up and Jeremy, which, that's going to be a very, very fun conversation and recap for the next episode. So, guys, let me know what you thought of episode 10 of Love is Blind. What did you think about this Jimmy and Chelsea conversation that they had? Because it wasn't a fight, guys. It was not a fight. It wasn't even an argument. It was a conversation. So let me know what you thought about that. Also, I'm really wondering what you guys think. Do you think that Clay is actually ready for marriage? Do you think AD is going to say yes? Oh, I don't know. But I'd love to talk to you guys about it in the comments. But if you like this video, you know what to do. Please click that like button. Helps me out, helps out this channel, helps it grow and get to more people. And of course, if you're not already subscribed, I'm sorry, what? Why are you not subscribed? But anyway, thanks so much for being here, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! I just can't believe that, Chelsea. I literally can't. The garbage behavior that is Chelsea and Jeremy this episode. And episode 11's even freaking worse. I can't. Garbage.